Hey guys, so I'll talk about cell phone and bank accounts today. Not the most interesting of topics, but they were very important things that I wanted to kind of get out of my way when I first moved here. I think it's really important to know. I was really curious about how to get those things all set up before I came here, and I realized that I actually couldn't. And I was really disappointed to kind of see that the whole bank system didn't work the way that I thought it should. Like, I'm thinking logically, if I were to go to an international bank like HSBC, open an account in Canada, and then open a UK account, I should theoretically be able to go online and just move my money between accounts. That's not how it works. And I think because, there are two different countries, two different currencies, two different laws, and whatever. So it's not as simple as like moving your money from your checking account to your bank, your savings or whatever. And back home, I bank with TD and ING, and they don't have those banks here, so it's out of luck in that sense. So what I ended up doing was I asked around kind of to see what the major banks were, and like there's like Lloyd's, HSBC, NatWest, Barclays, Santander, and a couple other big ones. And I basically just went online prior to coming here and looked at all of their options. And I was looking for basically kind of like a new to the UK slash traveler kind of deals. Because all the people, all the banks that, you want to set up with, they want your address, they want your job and all that stuff. And I was like, I don't have any of those prior to coming. So I found that Lloyd's Bank, which used to be called Lloyd's TSB, Lloyd's had this like passport account. I think it was called passport account, where basically you should be able to walk into a branch. The website said walk into a branch, show your passport, and get an account. I was like, okay, cool. I came here and I thought I could sort out my bank and phone thing on my first day. I arrived on a Saturday. I thought I'd just get done on a Saturday, relax Sunday, Monday back to business. So I walked into the closest Lloyd's bank with my passport and said, okay, I read about this passport account, blah, blah, blah. And they were like, yeah, okay, but we need you to have an address. And I was like, well, I can give you my friend's address, this girl that I know, but I don't have one yet. I don't have a flat. I just got here like this morning. And they were like, okay, well, where do you work? And I said, I don't have a job yet. Like, oh, well, if you don't have a job, you can't open an account. And I said, okay, but without an account, I can't get a job because you need to give your bank details in the first place. So you're telling me I can't get a bank account without a flat and a job, but I can't get a job without a flat and a bank. It doesn't make any sense. And they were like, well, I guess you could apply for like an unemployed account. So I said, okay, cool, let's do that. And then when I get a job, I'll come and switch it. And they were like, oh, no, you can't do that. You have to like apply to the government for unemployment insurance and blah, blah, blah. So I'm sitting there being like, okay, so basically you can't help me. Like, what does your website say? It says walk in with the passport, get an account, and you're telling me that I can't do that. So anyway, I got really frustrated, jet lagged, tired, frustrated. Ended up trying a different Lloyd's TSB branch, and I walked into the same thing, and they were a bit more receptive, and I forget exactly what they said, but they were basically kind of saying like along the lines of, no, we don't do that. You need a job, blah, 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 blah. So I was like, listen, I have like, and I made up some like big number. I think I was like, I have like $25,000. I didn't. That I want to transfer in immediately because I just moved here. So if you are going to deny me of opening an account here because I don't have a job yet, even though I will very soon, since I obviously need to survive, then I will go somewhere else. And they're like, oh, actually, in that case, no problem. Come on in, come on in. So I went in and talked to this girl. And after like half an hour of talking to her and giving her all my information, my passport and everything, and we chose like an account that was right for me and blah, blah, blah. She was like, okay, well, have a nice day. And I'm saying, well, where's my card? Like, what? You don't get your card today. You get your card in the mail in like 5 days. I was like, oh, what am I supposed to do until then? I just use my Canadian bank account and use cash? And she was like, yeah, I guess. So I said, okay. So when I get my card in the mail on, 5 days from now, do I call a number to activate it? Do I walk into a branch or what do I do? And she was like, oh, Well, your temporary PIN will be mailed to you about 5 days after your card is mailed. So I said, okay, so you're telling me I can't even use my bank card that I'm going to get in the post in a week because I'm not going to have my temporary PIN for another week. Correct. Okay, what about online banking? Can I start transferring money online even if I don't have my card? And she's like, no, this is England. Not that simple. So first 5 days, wait for your card. Second 5 days, wait for your PIN. Then the last 5 days, you wait for your temporary like online banking account number, and then a few more days after that, your temporary online password. I think there was like an easier way around the whole online thing, but that girl just wasn't very helpful with me at the time. So I was getting so frustrated, basically saying it takes 4 weeks to get your bank account set up, which is what ended up happening to me. And that's just personal checking and savings account. And they call checkings, what do they call it here? Not Vantage account, because Vantage is like having like a savings plan on your checkings account. I forget what they call it, but they don't call it a checkings account, and they get very confused. Um, so I opened the two accounts, and then I had to open a business bank account because I opened my own limited company in order to work freelance. And that is a whole other process that you have to go through. It was absolutely insane. Like you have to like go on the website, apply, click some button, then you give a phone number. They phone you. They ask for your availability, set up a schedule to meet some guy. You meet some guy at a bank. He types up exactly what you tell him that you could have probably done yourself online. Then you get a thing in the post. Then you call some number to tell them a number on your letter to activate something else. It just fucking takes forever. So tip to you in opening a bank account in London, be patient. And don't be like me thinking you can walk into a bank and walk out with a card that day. Not like Canada. And they think it's really funny when you expect it to happen. What else? I mean, I had to use my Canadian card here. And I think TD was charging $5 per transaction at an international ATM, and ING was charging, I think, $3. I ended up using both because I had money in both accounts, but it's really painful when withdraw like £300 and then the receipt says you just withdrew like $510 and you're like, the dollars are worth so shit here. But yeah, I just lived on cash for a while. And try not to use your credit card unless you have like a sweet deal. Like I think most credit cards, you get charged on the international exchange rate, which is kind of shitty because it's a bank rate, which is like really bad. And then they charge you a percentage of that transaction, and then another fee for using your card offshore, I think. Anyway, that's the bank thing. What else? Cell phone. So I thought I could get like an international SIM or something before I came, but then it was just too much trouble. I just couldn't find anything online. So as soon as I got here, I asked this girl that I knew. I said, where do I get a SIM card? Because my iPhone that I brought to the UK was an unlocked phone that I bought from the Apple store directly. And she was like, oh, just go to Carphone Warehouse. I'm like, silly, I don't have a car or a car phone. I don't need a car phone, I need a cell phone. And she's like, no. Carphone Warehouse is this massive, electronic store that sells cell phone stuff named Carphone Warehouse. Don't ask me why. I think I ended up walking into I went to 3. So the major providers in the UK, as far as I know, are like 3, number 3. EE, O2, Vodafone, Virgin, probably missing a couple out. There's so many. It's unlike Canada where we only have like Rogers, Fido, Telus, and Bell, and then they own everyone. Here there's so many different companies you can go with. So I ended up going with 3 with my first one because people were saying that 3 has the best internet coverage and the cheapest internet data plans. And when I first came, I wasn't gonna make any phone calls or really text anybody because I didn't know anybody. So I needed all the data stuff so I can run around, look for a flat, use Google Maps and stuff like that. So I just walked into a 3 store and said I want a pay-as-you-go SIM. And I haven't used a pay-as-you-go since I was like 13 or 14. I had my first Nokia phone, and I had a TELUS pay-as-you-go card that you reload, and then you have to like hang up on your friends early because you're out of minutes. But yeah, I had to get a pay-as-you-go because in order to get a contract for obviously a much cheaper rate, you need an address. I didn't have an address. And you need a bank account. I didn't have a bank account. So just bought like a pay-as-you-go like £15 card with the SIM. And then I used that with three. So three, from what I hear, has the cheapest internet plans, and I had like unlimited minutes and everything. But it has a really, really shitty network coverage. I think for internet is okay, but for like calling and stuff, everybody who has three that I know can't make phone calls in so many places, and they lose reception everywhere. But if you're using it primarily for data, really cheap, and I think pretty good coverage. So I did three for the first, like, I think month. And then when I got my bank account up and running and stuff, I looked online, did some research, and kind of looked at all those different companies and saw, what they offer for what kind of price. And because I'm still not sure how long I'm going to be in London for. I could be here another year. I could be here another 2 months and decide I want to go home. I don't know. So I'm trying to keep everything that I have on a month-to-month basis if I can. So, I mean, the only thing that I have like a long-term contract is my flat, which is a 6-month contract now. But my cell phone, they have tons of, monthly, month-to-month contracts. And I think it was not that much more than a 1-year contract anyway. So I did a month-to-month, and I'm still on that. Right now, I pay £33 a month, which is about probably $50. It's including tax. And I have like basically, I think, 3 gigs of data, unlimited minutes, voicemail, like everything, which is crazy because back home I was paying like $120 every month, but Canada is ridiculous with cell phones. So yeah, my advice to you would be to try to do a pay-as-you-go SIM as soon as you get here until you get your stuff sorted out. And you can just keep your phone number. So when I went from 3 to, I go with O2 now. When I went from 3 to O2, you have to apply for like a verification code with 3, and then you give that code to O2, and then they just transfer your phone number over. It doesn't cost you anything, and that's it. Like no commitment, super easy. A lot of my friends I know have EE, and they like that. Some of my friends have Vodafone, Virgin. I couldn't tell you what's the best one because it all depends on what you're looking for. I went with O2 because it was, in my opinion, a big recognized company that, probably isn't going to go bankrupt anytime soon and has relatively good service coverage. And they had a pretty good like pay-as-you-go month-to-month plan. So yeah, that's what I did. I think that's all I have to say about banks and cell phones. Again, be patient. Don't expect to be able to get those 2 things done ahead of time. I was talking to someone who was saying that they were looking into moving here, and the new visa forms ask you for a phone number on your visa form, which is ridiculous because you're not going to have a phone before you get here. And I don't know if this is true or not, but I think some of those phone companies will, allow you to have a SIM card, and they'll just mail it to you internationally if you pay for it online and say you're going to be able, using it when you get here. I'm not sure. But if they allow that, then you should be able to get a phone number. Bank account, definitely they will not let you do that online. There's not like an online application form that you can do, not that I've seen, before you get here, because they want you to sign things, and it's all about safety, and it's a good thing. It really is, obviously, but it's extremely frustrating and really just complicated process because I think they have a lot of identity theft problems in London, so they're just trying to cover everyone, which is nice but annoying. Anyway, that's it. If you have any questions, as usual, let me know, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.